This is Tom Wrobleski, the political editor of the Staten Island Advance. We're here today with State Senator Diane Savino. Welcome.
Thanks for inviting me.
So much going on these days. Where should we start?
You know, we can start at the end, we can start at the beginning, we can start in the middle, we can work our way in either direction. It has been a remarkable year, a roller coaster ride of a year. And who would have imagined that on January 9th, when we opened the session, you know, with the state of the state, that on January 25th, when we closed the session, we'd have a new governor, a new majority leader, a scandal du jour, and still, at the end of this whole process, really not have accomplished that much for the people of the state of New York.
Let's talk about Senator Bruno's announcement this week. Obviously, you are on the Democratic side of the Senate, looking forward to having the Democrats be in the majority. Let's talk about what it means for that plan and also, you know, for government itself.
Well, I mean, first of all, I think everybody was blindsided by Senator Bruno's announcement, although there has been speculation for several weeks that, you know, perhaps he wasn't going to run for re-election. He even danced around the issue. He didn't announce he was going to run, and he wouldn't say he wasn't going to run. But there's been speculation for a bunch of reasons. You know, one, he's not a kid anymore. He is 79, even though, you know, you wouldn't know it from talking to him. I mean, he's in better shape than most of us, and he's very active. But, you know, he lost his wife earlier this year, which really took a toll on him. He has been under investigation by the federal government, and that's an ongoing investigation, and that was, like, you know, cast a shadow over his majority. You know, he survived the brutal battle with Eliot Spitzer, and most people think that he probably came out the winner because he was still here and Eliot was gone. But, you know, it was hard. He's been the Senate Majority Leader for 14 years. And in the 14 years that he's been majority leader, he has seen the Senate Republican Conference shrink down to where they are now, 2 seats away. It was getting harder and harder for them to continue to convince people that they were a necessary check and balance against the Democratic Party when it came to taxes and spending, because they taxed and spent more than anybody. So it was getting harder and harder, and I think he just got tired and decided that, you know what, now's the time to go.
Does the Senate go Democratic this year?
Yes.
It definitely does?
Absolutely.
Well, where are the pickups going to be if you're part of the leadership in terms of looking at these races?
Right. I mean, I'm in charge of, you know, the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee. The DSCC has been divided into 3 people. We used to have 1 person who ran the whole operation, and we now have 3, and we divided it up into 3 components. Candidate recruitment, which is what I do. Fundraising, which is what Senator Jeff Klein does, and nobody does it better than him. And campaigning, which is Senator Antoine Thompson. The one thing that we have seen in the last couple of races, besides the fact that voters want change, they're hungry for change. They're hungry for something different because they're tired of being fed the same old stuff and getting, you know, no result. But the difference between us and them right now, when I say us, I mean the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, is the Republican Party has shrunk so badly in the past few years, particularly upstate. You have county leaders who were more interested in protecting their patronage jobs than building their party, so they don't have any operations anymore. They have nobody steering the ship. They don't have field operations, they don't have ground troops, they don't have county committee people, you know, all of the things that you need to run campaigns. And they haven't run real campaigns in years. They haven't had to. They've been, you know, assisted by redistricting. They've drawn safe districts for themselves. They've used, with the cooperation of the Assembly Democrats, no doubt. You know, so they've not really been challenged. And so now when they are faced with a challenge in what they consider to be their home turf, they don't know how to run the game anymore. And so we beat them on the ground, very simply. The good field operation, the ability to raise money, and a message that, you know, resonates with voters. They're not interested in partisan politics so much as they're interested in hearing answers or solutions to the problems that face, you know, some of these regions, especially in the upstate region.
Moving along to legislative stuff for a moment. The session obviously just ended in Albany. You know, what was good, what was bad, what's left to be done?
There's some discussion in some places that this is going to go down as the Seinfeld session. It was a session about nothing. And, you know, you'll hear a lot of people over the next couple of months crowing about all the wonderful things we did in Albany. Don't believe the hype. The governor had come into the chamber on Tuesday night, partly to, you know, say goodbye to Senator Bruno and you know, be in the room with all of us. And he said that he bragged that we had passed 21 significant pieces of legislation in the past 3 weeks. And everybody cheered. 21. You know how many bills we printed? You know how many bills we moved through the Senate? 2,400 roughly, based on the Senate calendar. It was somewhere around 2,400. And if we passed 2,400 bills and we only passed 21 significant ones, you tell me if that was a productive legislative session. Now, were we distracted with the governor's transition? You know, one governor with prostitutes, the next one, you know, who I love, David Patterson, he's my friend, he's the reason why I ran for Senate. But, you know, his own personal disclosures, a budget that is, quite frankly, out of whack. You know, we put it together with spit and scotch tape and Monopoly money, and I think we're going to run out of Monopoly money in about 3 weeks. We had tremendous opportunities to do some really good things. We didn't get a lot of them accomplished. We had an opportunity to reform the mortgage laws in New York State. We did pass a three-way bill on Tuesday, and if people were watching the Senate, you saw me get up 3 or 4 times to say it's a good bill, but it's not good enough. We didn't pass a foreclosure moratorium, which the banking industry was adamantly opposed to. We did put, you know, a system of checks and balances prospectively, but that's not going to do anything for the 27,000 people who are currently at risk of foreclosure or in the midst of foreclosure right now. So we missed a huge opportunity there. I could go on and on for all the things that we did not get accomplished.
What's the flaw that's going to sink the budget, though? Speaking of all, I mean, is it the...
We're going to run out of money.
Because
the revenue projections were seriously out of whack, and we knew it at the time. But, you know, people were more interested in getting the budget done on time, even though we were a little late, because it was more important that we get it done on time. The governor was a new governor. It was important that, you know, we show that the government is working again. And, you know, when your impetus is to look good in front of the editorial boards as opposed to sound financial policy, you get what you get.
Thank you very much for taking the time and share your thoughts with us. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always happy to be here, Tom.
Very good. Very good.